Over the past 2 console generations, a number of high-profile video games have been publicly announced and then quietly vanished without any news, public updates, or even leaks, all without being officially cancelled. So where did they go? We reached out to the creators of 14 such games to determine whether they're still in development or stuck in development hell. When a company couldn't give us an update on their game, we compiled everything we know to come up with a conclusion ourselves. Here are 14 games that seemingly vanished. Campo Santo first announced In the Valley of the Gods, a first-person adventure game set in 1920s Egypt, at the 2017 Game Awards. Soon after, Campo Santo was acquired by Valve and said they would continue work on it, but a year later, studio co-founder Jake Rodkin said the project was on hold so the team could work on projects within Valve, such as Half-Life Alyx. Campo Santo may decide to finish the game someday, but until then, at least we got a new Half-Life game. The team behind The Vanishing of Ethan Carter announced WITCHFIRE at the 2017 Game Awards, only to go dark for a year after. But rest assured that work on this dark fantasy FPS game remains active. The studio provides occasional dev updates on its official website, the most important of which was posted in April 2019 and stated that WITCHFIRE will be done when it's done. Here's hoping that's sooner than later. The long-awaited Metroid Prime 4 was revealed at E3 2017, 10 years after the release of Metroid Prime 3. Fans around the world went crazy with excitement, only for Nintendo to go radio silent for a full year and a half after. That's when Nintendo announced that Metroid Prime 4 development was being restarted entirely and also being moved from Bandai Namco to Retro Studios, the team behind the original Prime trilogy. Seems we'll be waiting quite a while for this one. Ubisoft announced its competitive multiplayer pirate game Skull and Bones at E3 2017. Since then, the game was delayed twice and currently has no actual release date outside of after March 2020. You can currently still register for their Skull and Bones beta, although there's no word on when that beta will actually take place. Yar. System Shock fans have had practice with patience. The series' third entry wasn't made official until 2015, 16 years after the release of System Shock 2. Things went quiet for the next 3 years as Otherside went to work on its biggest project to date. They broke their silence last September when a promising gameplay trailer debuted on IGN. Then, in February, Video Games Chronicle reported development was critically behind and the entire System Shock 3 team was no longer employed. However, just this week, Larry Cooperman of Night Dive Studios, owner of the System Shock IP, told IGN, "Otherside Entertainment has licensed the rights from us to develop System Shock 3. We have not received any notice or communication that would lead us to believe that there has been a change in that status." After departing Capcom, Mega Man creator Keiji Inafune founded a new studio called Concept, now known as Level 5 Concept. In 2015, Concept announced a spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends called Red Ash: The Indelible Legend, and a Kickstarter campaign quickly followed. Red Ash fell short of its $800,000 goal, but found funding from Chinese publisher Fuse just before the campaign ended. In the 5 years since, Concept has released Mighty No. 9, Recore, and a mobile game called Dragons and Colonies without providing any update on Red Ash. The game's official Twitter account has been inactive since October 2015. Rayman and Beyond Good and Evil creator Michel Ancel's ambitious open-world PS4 exclusive was revealed at Gamescom 2014. The game showed tons of promise and popped up again during 2015's Paris Games Week. Unfortunately, that's the last official word on Wild, save for a couple Instagram posts from Ancel in 2017 and 2018. Ancel is now leading development on Beyond Good and Evil 2 at Ubisoft, more on that later, and it's been years since he or developer Wild Sheep has mentioned Wild. However, there's still hope. Wild Sheep listed 2 job openings this year, and its website was recently updated with new artwork. Deep Silver revealed Dead Island 2 at E3 2014, and thus began one of the more tumultuous stories of video game development in history. Dead Island developer Techland was originally involved with the sequel, but instead shifted its focus to Dying Light, opening the door for Jaeger to take over. Dead Island 2's woes began with the delay from its initial spring 2015 release window to 2016. A few months later, Deep Silver removed Jaeger from the project after the company's respective visions of the project fell out of alignment. Little Big Planet 3 developer Sumo Digital took up the mantle in early 2016, and 3 years went by until we got our next update on Dead Island 2. In August 2019, THQ Nordic announced that Dambuster Studios was taking over, but 3 developers later, Dead Island 2 is apparently still being worked on. Capcom's dungeon crawler first appeared during the PS4 reveal event in early 2013, but 7 years later, as we wait for the PS5, Capcom has yet to release or cancel Deep Down. A beta for the game was expected to happen in February 2014, which never happened, and Deep Down wouldn't resurface until the following February, when Capcom said it was undergoing some massive changes to address concerns about it not being able to capture an audience. 2 years later, Capcom filed a second trademark for Deep Down, and 2 more years of silence followed before producer Yoshinori Ono told Eurogamer that the original development team is no longer together. But the project has not been completely given up on. He noted as long as Capcom keeps the trademark, it means we haven't given up on the title completely. Unlike the other entries on this list, Star Citizen is playable for $45 right now, although it remains in alpha with no sign of a full release. Star Citizen made $275 million in crowdfunding in 2012, plus $46 million more in private funding, making it the most successful video game crowdfunding campaign of all time. Despite that money and 7.5 years of development time, Star Citizen has still not been released or even moved into beta. Worse yet, the game's creator has said he's stopped trying to guess when it will be released. The co-op slasher HELLRAID was first revealed as Project Hell in August 2012 by developer Techland and was planned for last-gen consoles before development moved to PS4 and Xbox One in 2014. A year later, Techland announced HELLRAID was on hold as the build wasn't meeting internal expectations, stating that they were sending the game back to the drawing board. The studio was silent on HELLRAID until recently when Techland's senior-level designer told IGN that HELLRAID was on hold to prioritize work on Dying Light's expansions after that game's success. There is no word on if or when development will resume. The promising PC-only horror game Routine was announced in 2012 with a 2013 release window, and although it missed that window, developer Lunar Software assured fans that progress was still being made. In 2015, Lunar said that Routine was a huge undertaking where we have clearly underestimated a lot of the workload. In 2016, a new trailer revealed a release window of March 2017, which it obviously didn't hit. Lunar published another blog post explaining one of the 2 game endings was just not as strong as the other, and that final tweaks wouldn't take more than a month or 2. The studio's only communication since was a 2018 statement where they said they're still working on Routine and planned on sharing more info when the game is at least 99% complete. There have been no updates since then. The Rockstar-developed PS3 exclusive game Agent was announced at E3 2009. A release date was never announced, but a post to Rockstar's website hinted at a potential 2010 release. 2010 came and went, but in 2011, Take-Two confirmed Agent was still in development. After 2 more years of silence, Rockstar quietly renewed the trademarks for both Agent and its logo, which it did again in 2014 and 2016. In 2018, nearly a decade after the announcement, Rockstar officially abandoned the Agent trademark. 2 sources told Polygon some locations and missions from Agent ended up in Grand Theft Auto V, lending to the wide belief that Agent has long been dead. Despite that, Rockstar has never officially canceled Agent, and its webpage remains live. Ubisoft showed off a beautiful trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2 in 2008. Possible gameplay footage leaked the following May, and in early 2010, Ubisoft confirmed to IGN the sequel was still in development. The company provided a similar update a year later, adding Beyond Good and Evil 2 would not ship on the then-current consoles. Ubisoft again confirmed the game was being worked on in 2014. The sequel was officially confirmed by Ubisoft at E3 2017, although there is still no release window. All we know is it won't be released during Ubisoft's current fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2021. Best case, Ubisoft releases it later in 2021, 13 years after its first reveal. Which games on this list are you most looking forward to? Which have you lost hope for? Let us know in the comments, and for all things video games, released, unreleased, and canceled, stick with us right here at IGN.